All right, so a few years ago, I was dating this girl, and she was really wonderful, and we had been dating for long enough that we knew we cared about each other and knew that there was potentially a future there, which we had talked about the what ifs. So we had the conversation that every young couple has, I think, where you talk about sex stuff and the do's and don'ts, and sort of like, hey, if you ever had anything you fantasized about, just let me know and I'm down. And she was like, totally, me too, that was great. And I gave her my don'ts, and my don'ts being, or our won'ts. And my won'ts, there's only two that I won't do, which is I won't have a threesome. And number two being no savory foods in bed.
So, like, you will have food in bed?
I never have. I wouldn't be, if someone really was pushing, like, man, I really like having an Aero bar eaten off my stomach, I'd be down.
But roast beef?
Roast beef, no. Like, gravy or salty anything, I think it would just, maybe it's too similar to savory body tastes.
I understand.
Yeah. One thing that came up was anal sex. I've never had it, and I'm sort of curious about it. I've never had a massive desire to push for it, but I'd do it. It might be great. So I suggested, and she was sort of like, well, I don't know. I don't really like it. It's kind of uncomfortable for me, and I'll do it if you really want to, because I want to make you happy. And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. I would never, ever do it now. Because if it's going to make her uncomfortable, I care about this girl. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to push for that. Status quo is maintained. We continue to have vaginal sex for months.
And it's fantastic.
It rules. Vaginal sex rules. A few months later, we're laying in bed, and she said, hey, do you want to try something different tonight? I was like, oh, yeah, something different. Yeah, totally, cool. What do you have in mind? And she was like, well, do you want to try some bum stuff? And I was like, bum stuff? Yeah, I'm down. I didn't think you were into it. And she's like, oh, no, I love it. It's great. I'm like, cool. This is awesome. Like, she's really come around on this bum stuff. And we start fooling around, and she starts, like, going down on me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, once this is erect, it's going in her bum. Then as she's doing it, I feel a hand creeping up my leg and sort of onto my ass cheek and then slide into my ass crack. And out loud, I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, just, like, bum stuff. And I was like, oh, shit. Should I stop her? I kind of want to stop her because I'm not comfortable. But I don't want to stop her because I don't want to come off as homophobic. And I know it's not necessarily a gay thing because it was a girl doing it, but I'm really sensitive about that. I overcompensate.
Okay, so if, say, like, a really sweet gay guy came up to you and was like, if you don't have sex with me, it's really going to hurt my feelings.
I wouldn't, but I would really make up some really complimentary excuses.
Like, complimentary how?
Like, oh man, like, you're such a good looking guy, and like, if I was into guys, I would totally have sex with you, but I'm just not into guys. It's me. So she's sort of like, it's not penetrating, she's like rubbing my anus, and it feels good. And I'm like, okay, if she keeps this up, I can suffer through until everybody comes, and then we'll call it a night, and I'll talk about it and say I don't want to do it anymore.
Was there any hesitation in terms of hygiene?
Of course. Like, no, my bum is never clean enough to be touched by a human hand. I'm a clean guy, but like, I think things have to be pretty immaculate down there. If I knew ahead of time and was into it, I feel I could have done a better job.
Get some wet naps in there? Wet naps,
I don't know. I'd probably go the extra mile. I might like bleach my asshole or something. I don't know. Do people still do that? I think porn stars do.
I don't know.
So I'm like, okay, this is still okay. She hasn't penetrated. And then within 5 minutes, like, one of my legs is up and she is just jackhammer finger blasting my anus and talking about what sort of anal beads we should buy to get me used to this sort of thing.
Oh, man.
And then 6 months later, she cheated on me.